What is going on, traders? I just finished trading for today, and today was an absolutely beautiful day. Today we actually managed to catch this megalodon of a trade which netted us 17.65R. And with us, I mean myself and some of my elite students. And let me quickly explain how we managed to catch this massive trade. So every single morning before the New York Open, I do an outlook. I basically do an outlook where I say where I think price is going to go, how you should approach things. I don't give signals. I teach people how to look at the market and let them take care of the entries. Now, my outlooks have an accuracy of around 90%. Now, let me quickly play the highlights here of today's outlook on EU so you can see that I actually called this entire move beforehand. Good morning, traders. Let us take a look what EU has in store for us today. So it seems like EU on the 4-hour is heading for these highs we have up here. And I think this might actually be our higher time frame draw on liquidity at this point. But I would think that we need to grab some liquidity like we did right here for us to continue higher. And if we take a look, we do have quite a bit of liquidity built up below here. So if I had to take a guess, what we could see is a move like this, or we build a more significant liquidity pool down here. That would be in the sense of this, which we could then liquidate and then head for that draw on liquidity. I'm not a strong believer that we will mitigate this and then move down. To me, the market is more liquidity driven. But yeah, this, for example, could be a position that a lot of ICT traders take short within this fair value gap for us to then continue lower. Right now, I think if we have drawn all the way up here, I think we need to grab some liquidity at least. Let us take a look at the 15 minutes. So the 15 minute, as you can see, very strange price action. We definitely have super inefficient pricing, as we can see. So here we had a sweep. Here during the Asian session, it seemed like we had a sweep here as well. We had that higher time frame liquidation from the New York session here. So we had the sweep pushed up, swept one more time, had our market structure shift, but decided to come up once again, taking that liquidity. Even then, we had no real reaction. All we had was a sweep right here of an out of session low. This was during lunch, and then we started heading up once again. This gave us a buildup of liquidity in the form of a trend line right here. And then here we can see that we had yet another sweep with finally a market structure shift. Now also building up trendline liquidity. So currently we are in a bit of a get zone. Right here we have a lot of trendline liquidity going on here as well. So if I'm going to be looking for longs, I would like to do so below the major liquidity that we have right here. So I would like to see this here liquidated. And then once we do, I might be looking for high probability longs up until that high again, given that we have the trendline liquidity here. If we violate that, then of course I'm not going to be looking for longs anymore. And if I'm going to be looking for shorts, I'm going to do so above the trendline liquidity and the London session high. So right here, I will not take any kind of position. I will not be touching the market, which is only logical because we don't want to be joining the liquidity, right? That's going to be the play for today. All right, so as you can see, I was explaining that I was watching this level, that I was interested in shorts, and that is basically what we played today. Now, this trade was completely based on all the things that I teach my students. I also have some massive gems here out on YouTube, but the main type of people that I see capitalizing on this trade are my private mentees. So I do have a private mentorship open right now. The spots are limited. I think for this month we have 2 or 1 more spot available even. So we really only consider super serious candidates, right? But let me basically paint you a little picture behind how I approach this trade. So as you can see, this is the 4-hour chart. I was noticing how the market was behaving. So what did I notice? For starters, I noticed that right here we had a sweep. We pushed down very badly. Then we induced some more liquidity. And then at one point I saw that the market was showing us efficient pricing once again. Now, a lot of people will start comparing this to pure ICT concepts. These are not pure ICT concepts. This is institutional order flow. And I try to bring it to my students, especially to my private mentorship students, in the naming of familiar stuff. So like order blocks from SMC, and then fair value gaps, displacement, stuff like that from ICT. But the stuff that I teach, the stuff that my students are currently making money with, is what I like to call institutional order flow. This is what I teach my students. This is how I trade every single day and how I managed to make 42.2% in April. You heard that right, 42.2%. And I do not risk 1% per trade. No, I risk 0.25% to 0.5% on my trades. I had an overall drawdown of 2.7%, which is absolutely low and crazy low. And the return was 42%. Now, of course, this was an extremely nice month. So then what we started to see is that price right here reacted to this fair value gap and to the liquidity that was taken right here, which we can clearly see on the 15-minute in just a second. And then price started pushing up. Right here, what I noticed is that we were inducing liquidity. This was not efficient pricing. So I was thinking we are going to retarget that. Then right here is where I basically executed another position, which netted me, and this is absolutely crazy, one of the biggest trades that I've ever done, but this netted me 65R, right? 65R, which was a big swing position, which I only closed right here. After I noticed the sweep, my only bias was longs, and I was targeting this first bit of liquidity right here, and that is where I was trading up until. And then right here, what did I notice? I noticed that we induced more liquidity. This to me is inefficient pricing because the market needs fuel to make moves. So that is why I was thinking at this specific level right here, I was thinking if we reach that, price will most likely reverse. And then of course, I look for confluences on the left within this specific leg, and I'm giving away a lot of stuff right now. I'm looking for something on the left-hand side here for my confirmation, and that is where I take an entry based off of. So let us go to the 15-minute and again say what we were looking at here. So what I noticed for today is that, and let me quickly refresh my indicator. All right, so there we go. The indicator has loaded. And as you can see, this indicator basically shows you key levels. It shows you the sessions. It shows you the liquidity that was taken and so on and so forth. This is what I like to call the institutional indicator, which is exclusively available to my students or to my course members. If you're interested in that, I will leave you a link in the description where you can check out the course. And I will also include a free little bootcamp link, which you can then check out. So what was I noticing here? Let's basically start with the previous New York session. Here we ran up above major highs, which I marked here in red. We had a really clean reaction, and here a lot of people who trade SMC or ICT basically got trapped into the shorts. They got stopped out right here, gave another fake reaction to trap even more people into shorts. Right here is where we finally induced even more people to short because we have a breakout, and that is when price started to move upwards. Then I noticed in between the Asian session and during the London session, we induced liquidity. What was I looking at? I was mainly looking at the London low. Why? Usually outside of these sessions, we do not have a huge influx of liquidity. So we can know that right here, there are probably not a lot of people interested in shorts below this level, and are not a lot of people who are in orders from in between the Asian and the London session. So that is why to me, those lows are not significant. And again, I'm giving away so much value for absolutely free. Then right here, we had that massive push where I was thinking of potentially grabbing longs, but I stayed out of it. So price went up to my target. I decided to take a short based on a confluence that I saw on the left-hand side of price above my key level. So I entered a short. Price started moving very, very nicely. And at that point, I noticed right here a confluence that made me exit my position. And let me actually show you more proof of the position. So right here is my MetaTrader execution, as you can see. So the short up here, another short right here, and then I exited both right at this level where I marked out my exit here as well. Now the second position, I will talk about that in just a second. This was a bit of lower risk, but just a little bit of an extra to make the day even more beautiful, you know. With all that said, with all those confluences mapped out, with all the liquidity on the sell side, that is when I decided to jump in a short. And I don't like drawdown, so as soon as I was into big profits, I decided to jump out because I knew the market would reverse, and I do still think it's going to go for those lows, but it has to pull back just to keep efficient, right? We need liquidity to continue moving. So right here is where I decided to take another short. This time my stop loss moved above that high because I knew that high was likely not going to get broken anymore. And then I exited my position at the same time where I exited this position right here. And that netted me around 2R. So beautiful two trades here. Very, very lucrative position. And that is basically it. So again, Today, I managed to capture 17.5R, which was a very good day, but I do have quite a bit of 10 to 15R trades, which are publicly available. You can check those out in my Twitter. You can check those out in my Discord, always with proof provided, of course. I'm not a hindsight trader. I do not trade demo. I'm a live trader. I have a proven track record. I've been trading for over 8 years. And my students, the course members with elite access, they all get access to daily outlooks where I have a 90% accuracy in predicting where price is going to go. If you are interested in that, you can find a link in the description to the website where you can basically immediately join the course. You can also join the Discord server for absolutely free. And if you would like some one-on-one mentoring to basically fast track your entire process and your journey, you can always try to apply for the mentorship. But do keep in mind that the mentorship is very, very selective. So if you fill in that application, make sure to do it as thorough as possible, because this is really for the people who I feel like deserve to be helped, who really, really desperately want to make it and who are going to put in the work. This was basically the recap of these two trades. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.